Looking at democracy in Nigeria, prospects, problems associated with our democracy, and of course, the way forward. We'll also be looking at the just concluded local government election at the flip side along our discussion. Now, to join us X-ray this discussion from my extreme left is Comrade Doris Oyinyechi Ogwefun. She's a civil rights activist. Thank you for coming, Comrade Doris.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, and of course, from my extreme left is one of our own, Comrade Collins Amadi. He's a grassroots politician. Thank you for coming, Collins Amadi.
DPO, good morning, and good morning, viewers.
All right, and of course, joining us via Zoom this morning, he is Tim Iyobosa Esquire. He's a legal practitioner, a civil rights activist too. He will be joining us via Zoom as we continue in this discussion. Now, let's quickly come to the studio. Comrade Doris, looking at our democracy, do we really have problems with our democracy in the country? Do we really have problems?
Yes, we have problems.
Okay.
Huge problem.
Okay.
Yes, in Nigeria. And the foundation, the root of this problem has to do with two things. Our constitution, number one, and the political will to do the right thing, even when the constitution, some sections of the constitution has been amended, abiding and upholding it to administer governance there is a huge gap in that aspect.
Okay.
I think as with all, do you want me to?
Yes, of course. Go ahead. Go
okay,
ahead.
Yes. Why I said this is that, you know, when you say democracy, is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, okay? And in Nigeria, we practice the presidential system of government. And that presidential system of government is a kind of governance that gives power to the three arms of government, the federal, the state, and the local government. Yeah. But what we see here in Nigeria is like an opposite of what I just mentioned. I cannot just say now if we're in the practicing parliament system of government or even the true federalism. Because in true federalism, local governments are supposed to be a very crucial arm of the government that can administer governance to the grassroots, okay, where the people at the grassroots will be affected, will feel the impact of democracy, will feel that dividends of democracy. But such administration is not here, is lacking. We can't really say that we are practicing that, because you have seen that the federal and the states have hijacked the whole process. Even while the National Assembly one time came up and amended this part of the constitution by giving the local government that autonomous to be able to administer governance at grassroots. But acceptance of this amendment still becomes an issue, okay, for the 36 state governors. Having the what they call the governors forum, accepting that fact that they need to give local government autonomous to be able to run administration, local government administration, to be able to administer this governance to the grassroots level. So that is where the problem is. You still begin to see them upload and this issue of sharing a joint account with the state, which now happens to make the local government to be under the apron of the state government, which is not proper. Okay, now,
Collins Amadi, will you now say that some of the problems we have associated with our democratic rules, does it have to do with the constitution? Does it have to do with the individuals running the constitution?
Thank you very much. You will agree with me that even if you have a faulty constitution as it were, even if, but when you have people that are God-fearing, human enough in thinking, by way of action, those things will be amended. But when you have very slight lacuna in any paperwork, constitution is a paperwork, but morals are way of delivering to the people. Then people leverage on this is what the law has said. But however, with the paper we are operating in Nigeria today, which is called constitution, nothing is wrong there and nothing is ambiguous. in delivering services to the people. But just unfortunately, we have people whom we may call justices, professors. Just give them all the academic names you can give. They are the ones who have, either by way of grace or opportunity, or by way of even forcing themselves, have been the one leading the people. And they have continually led wrongly. They have refused to show example. But off camera, off action, they preach moral. They preach the best way things can be delivered. They tell you they have done a lot of research and this is what can come. But give them opportunity. We have seen a lot of interventions even in universities across this country that have led to some of their proposed document to government, at which you have seen things like PTF, wanting interventional schemes in different schools, just to help them in their research works, to help them build infrastructure within school. I'm just using them as a reference point. Yeah. But at the end of the day, what have we seen in all of them? Shenanigans. What researches have they done that had improved the Nigerian, either by way of engineering, the way of medicine, and what have you? Nothing to write about. But when the money finishes, they prepare to go back for another strike for federal government or those who are in charge of funds to release more money. So that is where we are. We talk about elections today. Where are we? Who are the people that have been sent to manage elections for us? From states electoral body to federal electoral body, they have all been professors and what have you, former justices, former this one, some are even present. And at the end of the day, they have consistently not made us proud. Okay. So that's to say that Nigerians must leave the stage of often beckoning on results, okay, on those who claim to have gone through all the school in the world. Because we have found out that in delivery services, it's not about the level of education you claim you have gotten. It's about either your home training or your self-acute moral that you have built over the time to say, let me join those who will make things better for our people.
Okay, let's see what Tim Yobosa, a legal practitioner, joining us virtually. What does he have to say? Looking at the discussion point, democracy in Nigeria, the practice, problems, and prospect. What says you, Tim Yobosa?
Hello, come again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear. What's your take on democracy, the democratic system in the country? Looking at it holistically, what is your take as an individual?
Well, you see, the malade and the wrongs of democratic institution and the practice of democracy in Nigeria in particular, we've not been following the democratic ethics in this country. You see, I've said in several fora that Nigerians will turn democracy upside down. We will practice pseudo-democracy. Not that there are no enabling laws. Our constitution, well, no matter how, there is no perfect constitution anywhere in the world. That is why there is always room to review your constitution. But if we practice democracy according to the dictates and the rules of democracy, things will go better. But the Nigerian players, let me use that word, the Nigerian players, or we'll call them the politicians, they are the ones who are trying to make sure democratic institutions don't work in this country because of the powerful persons, powerful individuals we have in this country. They don't practice it. Let's be sincere. We are not practicing democracy in this country. Okay. Because
so if we are not practicing democracy in the nation, what are we practicing?
Institution of democracy in this country. You discover that it has been truncated over and over again.
Okay.
If you also look at what is the floodgates of coup that's happening around within the West African sub-region and even now it has extended beyond the West African sub-region, you will discover that because the players don't play the game by the rule.
Okay.
Democratic ethics are supposed to be obeyed. See, we copied this democracy from the Western world. Why are we not practicing pseudo-democracy? Democracy is not working in this country.
Okay.
Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. Nigerians in particular, we are not interested in the nature of government that rule us. We are interested in the nature of government that put food on our table. If democracy will not work for us, Let's jettison democracy. For instance, in Saudi Arabia, they don't practice democracy. Things are working there. Within the lifetime of Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, he turned Libya into something else. It was not democracy.
Okay.
So if we know that democracy is not going to work for us, let's sit down together as people. Let's think of what will work for us. We should not be saying that because democracy is working in America, we think it will work here. The players are not playing by the rule.
Okay.
There are a lot of, let me tell you, the individuals, the politicians, let me use that word, the politicians are the ones responsible for democratic institutions not to work in this country.
All right, Tim.
Let me tell you, my brother, democracy is not working in this country.
Okay, thank you, Tim. We'll get back to you in a moment. Let's quickly return back to the studio where we have Comrade Doris and, of course, Comrade Amadi still standing by. Now, if Nigeria's democracy system since independence has been fragile, from his opinion, it has been fragile, do you think we lack the right persons in place to drive democracy in this nation?
Well,
since inception of independence?
well, honestly, we cannot say since inception of independence, because we've had other types of administration, political administration or governance in Nigeria apart from democracy. And actually, since let's say 1999, that we've had uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria, I don't think that we've recorded a milestone, a sufficient milestone to measure, to say that yes, that we're on the right track, that we will get there. But rather, we see a system where, like I said earlier, we are just in between. If you ask me from my own perception, I will tell you that we are in between. We are neither in the parliamentary system of government, neither are we in democracy.
How?
Because
why?
Actually, yes, because from the look of things, the way things are playing out, you will still see that the political elites, you know, this is something that we really need to change our attitude. By the time you are not in the corridor, you are not in the government, you will be like, oh, this is the way it should be done. This is how you can get it right. You know, we see them when they are campaigning, you see them giving honest campaign, things that they can never achieve.
Yeah.
But by the time they have entered, it's as if that it is a court where they will be given a certain concoction to drink that you must forget yourself. Yes, yeah. I am being frank. This is what I have.
So are you saying if someone like you gets to power?
Never.
Okay. So
why I'm saying this is that the way we actually, what we play here is politics for money, politics for the cause. Because you cannot tell me that we are practicing democracy one, where the people supposed to have a say. You make policies that is not people oriented. You make laws. Some of the laws, when we come up for, when the laws get to the stage of public hearing, we are not aware. The public that you are saying that you are making hearing for are not aware. You agree with me that there are a lot of laws in Nigeria that we Nigerians are
don't
not
know
aware
about.
of.
Yeah.
Are you getting me? But it is not how democracy is supposed to be.
At all.
Democracy is that everybody needs to be carried along. And that is where we begin to see the reality, the effect of good governance.
Okay.
That is where we can say, yes, we can feel that government. We can be part of it.
Okay.
When you rule and you make yourself a tyrant, you rule and you whatever you say becomes the ultimate. You rules that every money goes into your purse. You know, you cannot send me a message without mobilizing me. You know, it's a mockery. You make mockery of the people.
Yes.
You understand me? The way, if we continue like this, we're going to choke.
Okay.
You can even agree with me that we are choking. We don't have air anymore to breathe. The environment is choked up. The people are angry. People are hungry. Everywhere starts with hardship. So, because power is not supposed to be the way it is. This type of democracy we are practicing is even worse than the military.
Okay, well, the president has actually told us that we will breathe, and he's doing everything in his power to ensure that Nigerians actually breathe.
We are waiting for him to send our own prayers to.
Okay, let's quickly come to Collins Amadi. Collins Amadi, what is the way forward?
The way forward is clear. You know, when the righteous rules, the people rejoices. The righteous is not by the fact that those who go to mosque or who go to churches or who go to whoever or wherever they worship, but those who have the inanimate, the feelings of the people at heart, they become righteous before the people. And when they rule, there must be a way to make the people rejoice. And two, the ordinary people must over the time know that they have a very key role to play. Because you know why the problem we have in this country is, when you support a man to fight another politically, and when they become ills, and it will become, to them, it will become an offense, or it will become an offense even to the ordinary people to say, hey, you supported this person yesterday now, why are you now finding faults? Supporting you because I believe you can deliver, for example, and you are not forthcoming, doesn't mean I can't still now tell you that I thought you can deliver, but you are not delivering, for example. But even the ordinary masses will almost make it look as if it is a crime to support someone and the person, for example, is not delivering. But what am I trying to say in Oshe? We, the ordinary citizens, have a role to play. No matter how faulty somehow our democratic practice still today, I can still tell you it's the best thing to embrace because of the formula, as it were. If you go by other practical way of administration, whether you want to say parliamentary system of government or allowing military to completely take over, there are ways this freedom we exercise today certainly won't be there. Take it or leave it.
We'll return back to you. You have a final submission before we get to. Let's quickly get to Tim Iyobosa. Tim Iyobosa, now you are a legal practitioner. With some of the lacunas in our democratic rule, how can we salvage them?
Well, thank you very much. These gaps in our democratic rule, we have to first of all start, like I said, the constitution itself is one of the major structural problem that we have in this country. You see, in the past, we've attempted to bring people together from different parts of the country to first of all look at the very norm, the grand norm that is uniting, that is putting us together. If you recall that this constitution, 1999 constitution, as amended, as been practiced in this country, was military-inspired constitution. It was not the people's constitution. Forget about what is written in the opening chapters of the constitution, that we ourselves will give this constitution to ourselves. No, that is not true. We must first of all come together to look at the nature, the grand norm, that is the constitution that have to bind us. All of us collectively must contribute to that constitution. Those of us who are from the minority area, we have to also look at the issue. If, for instance, the issue of minority in this country since pre-independence have been a problem. If you look at the Willig Commission, who also discuss about how to make sure the rights of the minorities are guaranteed in the constitution. The Nigerian government never took it serious. I'm talking Willig Constitution of in the 50s. Not even, it was colonial commission. But those were the issues that was raised since almost more than 70 years ago. But we are still battling with this problem up to date. So what we should do, first of all, is the constitution. Because that moribund constitution given to us does not reflect the true identity and the true nature of Nigerian state. So until we, first of all, put that one right, so that the excess executive power, how can you say, if you look at the exclusive legislative list, about 68 items in just exclusive, you see too much power at the center is the reason why everybody is dying for Abuja. First of all, if we now devolve this power for the component states or component region as it used to be, you discover that before 1960, before the first coup and that metamorphosed into the civil war, there was, if you look at it, regions even are more viable than the center. For instance, I will tell you now in history that somebody like Amadu Bello refused to become the prime minister. He said he was actually okay with the northern region. So he sent one of his boys to become the prime minister. That is to tell you, it was more even attractive to be a regional prime minister than regional minister to become a prime minister in the 60s. So what we have to look at, first of all, is the grand norm, the constitution. It's not actually reflecting the true nature of Nigeria. And until we, first of all, change that constitution, things will continue to go bad. No matter how, if you bring an engine to run to that constitution, there must be issues that will arise from this country. My take is that let's restructure the constitution first before we know the next step to take in this country.
Okay, now lack of sense of national unity is one of the reasons some persons don't feel they are being carried along as far as the country is concerned. How can we start striking a balance as a nation, Doris?
See, our problem, I don't even see it as a regional or ethnicity per se. Our problem is ourselves.
Okay.
We must stop complaining and begin to do the right thing. Yes, our constitution is faulty, but there has been a lot of amendments towards that to make sure that power at the center is reduced, you know, to make sure that other sectors at the grassroots breathe. But yet, we are not coping. We are not trying to do the right thing. Remember in 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari actually, after the National Assembly had amended the constitution to give local government autonomous power to operate, President Muhammadu Buhari went ahead in May 2019 to make sure that disbursement of cash meant for local government is being disbursed to them directly without the interference of the state, which he used through the National Financial Intelligence Unit to do. But the state government vehemently disagreed to obey to that instruction up to date, being spearheaded by former governor Aragbeshola of former governor of Osun State, you know, claiming that actually we should be practicing the parliamentary system of government, where the federal and the state we have the absolute powers. So tell me, how can you feel that Nigerians are being carried along while they are not part of the system? We must, every Nigerian, it is our right, we must be allowed to participate in politics. And that is where you can be able to feel and see what is happening at the corridor of power. It will no longer be hearsay. You will be part of it from the grassroots. Lawmaking, I remember those days that even local government has the powers to make laws that governs their locality. But today, it does not happen like that anymore. Laws are being made only at the state level, which is not sufficient enough. Because if you are at the state level, you should be able to look at the affairs at the state level. You cannot be at the state and come and tell me what will happen at the grassroots. I think all of these things are centered about money. Until we begin to realize that we do not need too much. We don't need too much. Our want should be forsaken. Okay. We should focus on good governance. Focus on what the people really need. That is when we can actually get it right. Okay. Otherwise, we will continue to read the book of lamentation and it will not end. So we must do the right thing.
Talking about doing the right thing, let's quickly look at the just concluded local government election in the states. Why some persons are actually smiling and celebrating their victory of having the 18 local governments accredited to a particular political party in the state, the PDP, as it were. Others are saying no, the election didn't reflect what they were expecting. Let's quickly have your take.
Thank you very much. I'm happy you asked that. For APC, my party, for example, ordinarily people saw there was no need for the party to participate. But the party told its member, we must participate to show the capacity of the party. And that was why you saw the party participated from beginning to the very last minute. But unfortunately, what was said still was the reality. You don't preach what you can't do. We have never seen an election like this in the history of the world. I think this is the worst election that has been conducted in the entire nation, where people were issued certificates of return even before election. And sadly,
again. Are you sure?
Yes, sadly.
If you have facts.
Yes, of course. I can. If you have evidence. I can give you one now. You play it on your phone. One of the candidates that was declared in one of the local government on Saturday nights pasted on social media, forgetting that they were told to publish them on Monday. Out of that excitement, sent to the social media her certificate of return on a Saturday night, which was scripted on the 4th of September as the date that she was given this certificate.
That could be after the election.
Can it be on the 4th?
There could be a mistake somewhere.
On a Sunday? At where? Or Saturday midnight became on the 4th? When we saw it, the environment in which the picture was took was an environment of ASEC and their team. No, we don't drive people into the wall and expect the best by way of just saying. By action. I expected that for some who were crucifying the last election held by ENEC, that there were no complete perfection. Even when Okadama became a House of Representative member, people were still complaining. Not to talk of a local government election where, like in my ward, for example, and in my center, as at 3 noon, we have not gotten material. 3 o'clock. There are still evidence and video to that effect that we made press conferences around 3. Material came after 3.
And election still went on.
And materials were said not to be completed. That they've just brought some pieces that somebody will bring the others. Have you seen that before? And 2, telling you will go ahead with the election without a result sheet. At that point, from my center, we have to pack out. And the field became completely empty, like 7 people. And people started printing while we were already giving them back.
Okay, let's get
but this is not the kind of thing we want Nigeria to move. Okay. We want the grassroots, because the development of Nigeria will actually begin from the grassroots. Okay. Not until we start from the grassroots, which is this local government administration. It doesn't mean, even if the government in power, just as they have said that they won 192 wards, and no opposition can ever even win 1 councillor, they won 192 and 18/18. No problem. But let people not begin to cry foul when they are being heated upon, when it's not their turn. Because we can't continue like this. Nigeria can be better when people at the local level can fully get one among them that is more popular and they trust in, and sent to become their councillor. And they can easily hold them in the times of old. Councillors, people used to hold councillors up to governor's office to say, go and tell the governor that we said. If councillor cannot reach the governor, he will hold back to the local government chairman, not until local government chairman go to discuss with the governor. He will not allow him rest. Because my people will not allow me go back weekend. They say you must go and the road here is bad. Pressure and pressure. That was why you saw local government councillor will tell you, I constructed this road. Then, not because they actually constructed it, because they facilitated it. Okay. This time, can they facilitate it?
Let's quickly get to Timi Yobosa. Timi Yobosa, looking at the just concluded local government election in the state, what says you?
Well, thank you very much. You see, we have one big problem in this country. That problem is that we cannot conduct a credible, free, and fair election, even to the minimum of election, local government election. You see, first of all, the Constitution has guaranteed that the local governments will be operated democratically. Look at section 7 and 8 of the Constitution, actually enumerated and especially provide how the local government should be. It's by democratic means. That is the express provision of the Constitution. But today, not just only Edo State, practically all the states in this country don't run local governments by democratic means. I think there are a plethora of authorities. Supreme Court have said in several judicial pronouncements that appointing what they call caretaker committee.
Okay, we're having a kind of a network infraction there. Let's quickly come to Doris.
People cannot, the states cannot even conduct it.
Okay.
So what I am saying is that what transpired in the last concluded local government election, in short, so my opinion anyway, there was no election on Saturday.
Okay,
there was no election at all.
We'll come back.
Whoever that claims that there was an election should give us proof, because from my locality to my local government to Ovia Northeast to Oremo to my locality here in Benin where I'm supposed to vote, there were no election material.
Okay, we'll join you shortly, Tim. Timi Yobosa will join you shortly. Let's take a quick break now. We'll be back after this time out.
TMI, every opinion counts.
All right, Nigerian democracy has been fragile and, of course, fluctuating since independence, and successive governments have struggled to create a sense of national unity. in a complex country whose borders were drawn by British colonialists. And of course, we're actually looking at the democratic system, the problems, and way forward. Colin Samadi, Comrade Doris, and of course, Timi Obosa, who is actually joining us virtually. Let's quickly come to Comrade Doris now. What he actually said, he said the election never took place. But at least we have some women coming on board as one of those elected as chairman representing their various local government areas. Don't you think it's a good step in the right direction, even though they are of the same party?
You see, we will keep lamenting and lamenting, you know. One problem that has been reoccurring in Nigeria is precedence. This is not the first time such thing is playing out in the state. And not, Edo State is not peculiar to this problem. Local government is entirely under the aprons of the state government. Not until the governors forum change their attitude. That is when politicking and politics, governance, we get to the grassroots level. Until we get there, until we change our attitude, until we begin to realize that we do not need too much, things will get better. Democracy will be strengthened.
Well, I'm afraid our time is not always our friend on the show. We'll be drawing our curtain here. Thank you so much, Colin Samadi, for coming.
Thank you,
Comrade Doris. And of course, Timi Obosa, who joined us virtually. Thank you for taking your time to be part of the show this morning.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's the much we can take. Thank you all for being part of today's TMI, reaching you live from our network service.